This is Abnormal Entertainment.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cinema Head Cheese Podshort for My Friend Dahmer. This is Kevin Moyers back from a grand hiatus, and with me for this episode is...
Dalyn Vicker, also back from a long hiatus.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even longer than that Masked Blogster guy, who's been on a really long hiatus.
That guy's taking a nap.
Yeah, seriously. I think he put his wrestling mask on backwards or something.
Yes. You get in one documentary series on YouTube.
Yeah. Thinks he's a star now.
Yeah.
Dummy.
Well, look for that.
Yeah,
when it happens.
For sure. But My Friend Dahmer,
yes.
Which is based on the acclaimed graphic novel. You read it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And you're going on and on about it. And for those that don't know, I do subscription box reviews, and I do that for hellosubscription.com, so you can look for the review of the entire Creepy Crate box that I received. But as I'm going through everything, I saw this DVD, My Friend Dahmer. And before I even took pictures for the actual website, I'm holding it in my hand, and I take a picture. I send it to the group chat I have with Kevin and a couple other folks from Abnormal and Cinema Head Cheese, Dave and Jeff.
Yeah.
And I'm like... I sent that, and I was just waiting for your reaction. I'm like, okay, this better be the book he is talking about. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like a complete idiot. Like, oh, cool DVD guy. But it was, and I could tell by your reaction just from text.
Oh, I was super happy to see that.
Like, I need to see that. I'm like, I will bring it over.
Yeah,
my DVD player's broken, so it worked out really well. It's more than broken. We just threw it away, and I'm like, I'm asking my kid. I'm like, so do you use both of your gaming systems in your room? Yep. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
You do. So, yeah, it's, I guess I have to pony up and buy a Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
Because I've fallen short on my movie reviews, too, because Cinema Head Cheese has a book coming out. But that's a whole different thing.
A whole other
ball
thing.
of wax. But I got to say, I kind of want to read it now.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised how much I like this movie.
Yeah.
Like, really surprised based on, it's low budget from what I can tell.
Yeah.
And
I think, and I could be wrong, I'm going to look at the box, but I thought IFC Films had something to do with the distribution, but maybe not. I don't see it anywhere on the box.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it on the credits either.
Yeah. So.
And it was very limited release when it was out here, I know. You said you saw it at... For those of you that don't know, we're in Phoenix, and there's a place called the Film Bar where they show movies in a bar.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Downtown, and it's they show a lot of small independent stuff, and there are theaters like that everywhere. But they had it, and I could never get down there to see it. They were showing it like once a day,
right,
for maybe 2 weeks, and I just couldn't get down there. But I was after reading the comic. It was maybe 2 years ago. It's John Backderf. He goes by Derf Backderf. I mean, I thought maybe it was like Fred backwards or something. It's just nickname from his last name. But it was one of those things. I saw it in the library. The library by me has a stand where they'll have, graphic novels on one side and then, young adult books on the other, whatever.
Sure.
And I walked past it, and it was right on the top, and I thought, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And the artwork was unique. It was different. Not quite cartoonish, but a little bit like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, okay. I looked at the back, read what it was about, and I thought, this is a guy that John Backderf went to high school with Jeffrey Dahmer and was friends with him. And it's just about those years, or really maybe 2 years before they got out of high school.
Yeah, because they don't kill anybody. Nobody gets killed in this movie. Well,
no.
Spoiler alert. But
Yeah.
they allude to what happens,
Right.
But I mean, this isn't like some violent spree.
Yeah.
For those of you that are looking for the 17 people that Jeffrey Dahmer admitted to killing, this is just kind of the leading up to it and what it was like to be with him in high school.
Yeah. The prequel.
Really, it's kind of a prequel, only like way better than those Star Wars ones.
Yeah. Well, there were two biopics done on Dahmer. There was The Secret Life of Jeffrey Dahmer, which I saw not long after it came out. I remember seeing it at a video store, and I watched it, and it was pretty good. And then there was Dahmer later on, where Jeremy Renner, who was unknown at that point, played Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wow.
And Bruce Davison played his dad. And it's funny, they're both in the Marvel Universe now. Officially. But
who isn't these days?
Yeah, pretty much. But, I mean, and that was an okay movie. I think The Secret Life was a better movie. But this is just, like, from the point of view of somebody who really, spent time with him in high school.
Yeah.
And he was just like a weird kid, and they thought he was interesting. It was Backderf and then two other friends, and they thought he was just like kind of crazy, but on purpose, almost Andy Kaufman-esque.
Yep.
And they were like, "Oh, let's hang around with this guy. This is
fan
wild."
Club.
And, yeah,
Jeff Dahmer fan club.
Jeff Dahmer fan club. They started, and they wanted to hang around and watch him do these crazy things.
Yeah.
And he would do like making fun of this guy that had CP, who was a designer, and he would do stuff like that. And I guess his mom, which they go more into in the book.
That's what I kind of figured. I figured he was mimicking his mom.
Yeah, his mom
with a lot of this stuff, and I'm like, I'm waiting for this to happen.
Yeah, she would make crazy noises and shit like that. And Anne Heche plays the mom and does a good job playing crazy, which,
sure,
based on her history, is far from reality. But they didn't get as much into her poor mental health as they did in the book.
Which is, I will say, it's too bad, because I thought Anne Heche did a good job.
Yeah,
like she really played that up with the pills she's popping and everything else, and then the way she dealt with the divorce, and like it was just like, man, need a little. If I had one thing to say about this movie, having not read the book or anything, like I could have used a little bit more of that, because I felt like that's where it was coming from.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. And they mention it kind of, it's almost a throwaway in the movie that she's less than a year out of an institution.
Right.
And she said she wants to go back to work. Well, the other ladies are doing it, and her husband says, well, they're not, a year out of an institution. And that's it. That's all they really talk about.
They barely go into it.
A couple times Jeff says, well, is she going back to the hospital, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's not a big focus in the movie.
Right.
But in the book, they get a little bit more into the mental instability of his mom and his dad. They don't paint him as a bad guy. He seems a little more connected in the movie
than
in
definitely
the book.
Okay.
But he seems a little more detached, and it's just, marriage is falling apart and dealing with a wife who has mental health conditions that in 1978 they weren't dealing with properly, for sure.
And in 2018 they're still not dealing with it properly.
Yeah.
So you can just imagine back then.
Yeah, 40 years
at least now, 40 years later, it's people are at least saying that it's a thing, and it's not just crazy people.
Right.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
But back then, forget it. I mean, between that and the homophobic culture that was back then. I mean, we're not that far removed from the whole culture being as homophobic as it was.
Considering our vice president.
Right.
But
all things considered.
Yeah. But no, it was just a different time. You could say that shit all you want, but 40 years ago, being gay, Dahmer had that to contend with, and his mom being ill, and his parents arguing loudly.
Yep.
There's a scene where Derf goes back home with him, and the fighting is so awkward and weird. He's like, you know what? I think I have to go home and have dinner with my parents.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I can't say we've all seen that, but even in the 80s growing up, I remember, parents would just argue and shit.
Yeah.
Like, people didn't consider their kids
Right.
most of the time at
Right.
that point. So, I remember my parents arguing once my dad dropped us off from our, Sundays or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
You know what? There was something else that went unanswered in that movie. Did he go to the Neil Sedaka concert?
Yes.
I don't know. I want to know if he went.
That's brought up. Yeah, he did have one kind of a friend
Yeah.
who invited him to a Neil Sedaka concert.
Yeah.
And we'll pick you up Saturday, but they never really went into that.
Then that was it. Then it was like the next year in school. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you go? Like, it was kind of a date. And I kind of want to know. It's like, did you go?
Yeah, I guess.
And you left him to get beat up.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah. Just seemed
Yeah.
the stupid stuff I focus on.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I don't remember this part
It's my
of the book.
favorite. Like, what? Said no one ever. I don't even think Jeffrey Dahmer said
I
that.
can't even name a Neil Sedaka song if I tried.
No.
So
I actually didn't even know it went that far back. Like, I don't know. The stuff I'm thinking of, I'm like, I'm sure it wasn't Neil Sedaka. I didn't even know that's how you said his name.
Yeah. Either way,
Yeah,
I'm sure he went. I don't know.
maybe.
But the mall scene, that was something in the book. I was waiting for it as I watched the movie. Because
Sure.
that was something in the book, like, and, spoilers throughout the movie, but, Jeffrey Dahmer's been dead for 20 years, I think.
Yeah, this is based on a
we're
true
beyond
story.
Spoilers.
This is based on a true story.
Yes.
So
I think we're beyond spoilers at this point. But, they would watch him as he did these crazy spastic things and making all the noises and doing physical things like faking seizures and, yelling at people and shit like that. And the big culmination of all of it was him doing this in a mall and a bunch of people gathering. And I do remember in the book they collected money to give him to do this. And he was such a raging alcoholic at that point. And he's 18.
right.
And, he was so bad drinking. There was one shot where he's just kind of sitting around the corner watching a track team go by and stuff like that. That reminded me of the book. I mean, it was pretty much straight out of the book, that scene. And it was just a 3-second scene, but it looked
But
like...
yeah, it was a memorable scene, though.
Yeah.
Like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just one viewing. Like, yeah, I remember that.
And he's just chugging the alcohol and just straight out of the bottle. And he was... And him on the way to the mall, he has Derf and then their other friend. There was one guy in the group. I can't remember all the the other two friends' names, but there was one guy in the group he
was very agreeable.
Well,
I think everything was just like,
let's go.
I don't know.
But then the other guy started to feel bad about what they were doing. Like, we're taking advantage of him, sort of.
Right.
And didn't go to the mall, and that was in the book, too. And, he felt bad. But Dahmer's just pounding beers in the backseat, and I remember that from the book, too. And you do feel bad for him.
Sure.
You feel a lot of sympathy for him. And Backderf was really good about, and I can't remember now if it was in the beginning or the end of the book. I feel like it might have been in the beginning.
Yeah.
Where he says, do not feel sorry for him.
Right.
You're going to want to, as I tell you the story, but don't.
Right.
Because he is a serial killer. You have to remember that.
And I think they did a good job of that without, like, flat out saying it in the movie.
Yeah.
By showing the weird stuff he was into.
Yeah.
Like, just mutilating animals and
dissolving animals in jars of acid.
Yeah. And, like, that one animal that was almost like an altar, like, just, like, laid out, and those kids find it, like, you're just like, this guy's fucked up.
Yeah. It was like those stories you heard in the 80s of the satanic cults in the woods.
Yeah, which is what they said. Yeah, it's a coven of witches. A coven of witches?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's all. It just all leads to, what we get. And he's obsessed with this doctor that jogs by.
Yeah. I can't even tell you to say the joke on that one. It was awesome.
Yeah. But there was one scene, and it was quick in the movie, but he would fantasize about like hugging the jogger's corpse in bed, and then like masturbating to it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was...
Especially after you got that hernia check.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
my.
But that stuff was in the book,
how,
too.
Yeah, but how difficult was that? I mean, it was already difficult.
Yeah.
To be
gay in
in the
1978.
70s.
Yeah.
In the 80s,
small
90s.
town Ohio.
Small town Ohio, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was easier in San Francisco or New York, but,
Middle America, no way.
Wasn't 78 when Stonewall happened in New York?
Oh, okay.
So,
probably, yeah.
around that time. So,
Yeah.
it's even then, there, it wasn't easy. But, it's just, it's just a chaotic childhood, teen years, and his younger brother didn't seem as affected. I don't know what he's doing today.
Right?
I'm curious. Who knows, but it's just...
He had to have changed his name, right?
I don't know.
Man.
I don't know.
First thing I would do, oh, man, you screwed this up. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Man.
Well,
all right.
It wasn't Dahmer a junior as well, I think.
Oh, probably.
So, can you imagine?
Oh, man.
You don't name your kids after yourself.
Nope. What if?
Yeah. But, I don't know. It was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah.
And having read the book, there was stuff I was waiting for, like I said, the mall scene and things like that. And it's been a couple years, but it stuck with me enough.
Yeah, because we've talked about it multiple times in the past couple years.
Yeah.
Enough to where I'm like, I remember this title.
Yeah.
This better be the one he's talking about.
Well, and they kind of end it where he picks up what ends up being his first victim.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much where the book ends. The book goes a little beyond that to where he has this guy, it was a hitchhiker, and he has him cut up in trash bags, and he's heading off from his house to dispose of the body in the middle of the night, and he gets pulled over maybe, the equivalent of 2 blocks from his house. I mean, he looked like country road, basically. And the cops, I don't remember what it was, if they thought he was driving drunk or whatever the situation. In 1978, you could drive with a beer in your hand in the car.
Right.
So...
which he did.
DUI wasn't a huge thing then. But whatever it was, they just told him, get off the road, and he turned around and went back home. They didn't look at the trash bags or examine them or whatever. And, you were saying with the movie, that could have ended everything right there.
Yeah. Yeah, if you caught him right then and there, like, why do you have all these... Yeah.
Yeah.
And how would you know?
And that's a different thing than, like, when there was the Laotian guy that ran out, escaped, and he convinced the cops, oh, it's just my boyfriend, and convinced them to let him take the guy back, and then he killed him that night.
My God.
In Milwaukee. Yeah, that was like his second to last victim, I think.
Yeah.
So, back then, who the hell knows? But, and it also goes into the book where Backderf gets a phone call from his future wife. They were dating at the time. Like, hey, they said somebody from the school killed someone. And his first thought was Dahmer.
Yeah.
And there was another kid. What was his name? Flick or something like that? He was just burnout kid that was...
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. And a lot of people thought he would be a guy that could kill somebody. But he was just, again, a burnout. He was nuts and went nowhere with his life. Just one of those kind of guys. But Backderf in the book says right away he knew.
Yeah.
He's like, this is
especially
Jeff.
after that last stealing he had in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
So, he just had that sense, that eerie sense that something's wrong. And I think his wife she was a journalist and ended up covering the story. So, it just, all that craziness. And I remember growing up in Chicago, some of his victims came from Chicago. And it was all over the news constantly, trying to figure out who or what, he did and all these things. So, yeah, it was, I'm sure it was a scary time for the gay community in Chicago, too, and Milwaukee. Sure. It's like, who are you going home with every night? And shit like that. So, but, yeah, it was constant. There was even a death metal band in Chicago called Macabre, and they recorded an entire album about Jeffrey Dahmer. Their whole thing was they did songs about serial killers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everyone from Vlad the Impaler all the way to Son of Sam and stuff like that. But they did an entire Dahmer album, which was actually a really good album. They did like a song that was, because I guess a couple of his victims were killed around his grandmother's house, and they did like this, over the river, through the woods, to grandmother's house we go.
Oh my God.
Or they did Jeffrey in the Chocolate Factory, because he worked in a chocolate factory in Wisconsin at one point.
Wow.
So they did their little Willy Wonka parody, but death metal style. So yeah, it was a big deal in Chicago, the whole Dahmer thing.
I'm sure.
So,
Man.
yeah. I even remember driving past the prison, taking a trip through Wisconsin. It was near Racine, and you could see the prison from the highway. I'm like, Dahmer's in there right now.
Yeah.
And then
just hanging out. Oh.
Yeah. 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 Well, I think it was a year after that he got his head bashed in the bathroom. So.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. There's another inmate that just bashed his head in and killed him, I think with a mop handle.
Wow.
In the bathroom over some disagreement or some shit like that. So,
okay.
Yeah. And I think the guy also thought, well, if I kill Dahmer, I'll be famous.
Sure.
So there's a little bit of that going on too, but yeah.
Still don't know who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not listening to this podcast, I'm sure.
I think he's still in prison. I think he's a lifer, so I think
I would imagine.
Yeah. I think he was already a lifer, so
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think
that
they have
didn't help.
Death penalty in Wisconsin because Dahmer would have gotten it. But
you would think.
Yeah. The last song on the Macabre album was Jeffrey's Brain, so they studied it. His father agreed to let them study it for science. So,
good idea.
The mind of a serial killer.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what you find, but good luck.
Yeah. But anyway, I liked it. I
really enjoyed it. Yeah,
I'd recommend it. I'd also recommend the book. It's a quick read. I read it in 2 sittings. I think half and half. So.
Yeah,
and
it was mainly because you had to go somewhere.
Yeah, I could have done it in one shot.
Yeah.
So it was that good and that, just intriguing. And you'll see throughout, what's the kid's name? Alex Wolff. He was in Jumanji. He was the guy that becomes The Rock. He plays Backderf, and throughout the movie he's drawing caricatures of Dahmer.
Yeah.
And he still had a lot of those and included them in the book.
That's so cool.
So, yeah, I mean, high school level art. And he's not... He's like an improved version of that. He's always kind of had his style.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And he wrote and drew the book, so it's really good, and I recommend it. But, yeah, the movie and the book. I don't know which I would do first. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm going to go read... hopefully read the book. I don't know when I'm going to make time to go to the library and get it and everything, but...
Well, if you start with the movie, you'll get more detail in the book.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm interested because this was a surprisingly really good movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, just wouldn't be normally something I would pick up, but
no, it does make me wonder about other serial killers, like their childhoods and stuff.
Who knew them before, and
and
the way this one was done, like man.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, good, interesting, and I recommend it. My Friend Dahmer, go get it.
Be nice to people, but not too nice.
Yes. So anyway, head over to abnormalentertainment.com for more podcasts. CinemaHeadcheese.com for more reviews. Peggy Christie, John Butler, Christos is getting more up there. And then Bunny17media.com, use CHC, and you get 15% off of all of our books over there, including Blast of the Clown, which is an Abnormal Entertainment collaboration. You can get the Ain't Dead Yet audiobook, which was an earlier podcast in the beginning of this network that Dave Hayes and I did together. So I put it together in audiobook format. So it's easy to digest. I think it's about 8.5 hours worth for $5. That's pretty good.
That's pretty nice.
That's a deal. Yeah. So you have something to listen to besides this, since I can't keep up on it for shit. And there you go. So other than that, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Find more Cinema Headcheese podcasts and reviews at cinemaheadcheese.com. Tweet us at CINHeadcheese. Listen to every Abnormal Entertainment show on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, our YouTube channel, or anywhere you find your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to visit abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.